Welcome to the Valhalla Filmcast, a show where normal guys talk about the films that they love. And here are your hosts, Bryce Thompson, Brian Hammond, and Cody Ryrie. Now get ready, because the show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Valhalla Filmcast. I'm Cody Ryrie, and here tonight with Brian Hammond. We are going to dive right into this one. Our review of the Best Picture frontrunner, as of right now, La La Land. Directed and written by Damien Chazelle, starring Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone. If you have not seen this one, this is a musical set in Los Angeles that follows Emma Stone's character, who is an aspiring actress, and Ryan Gosling's character, who is an aspiring jazz musician, as they weave through Los Angeles in modern day. It's a modern film. Try to realize their dreams and fall in love, and it's very much, in some ways, and we'll talk about this more, a throwback to the old Hollywood musicals. In some ways, it's very much a new thing. Right now, it's been a very popular film, and it is the frontrunner for Best Picture. It's interesting. Well, first, before we get into any of the cultural impact or any of that, Brian, you're the one that saw this one first. You've seen it a couple times now. You brought me to it. What was it about it that you liked so much that you saw it several times in the theater?
Well, you'll have to pardon my voice. I've got a cold, and so I'm working through that. But anyways, what fascinated about this, I love cinematic experiences. You go to the theater for shows that wow you, that move you, that have a different effect than they do when you watch them at home. And this one had that for me. I relate it kind of like to Moulin Rouge. Moulin Rouge was one of the first... well, first of all, I could afford to go pay multiple times to see it. I actually saw Moulin Rouge, and I hesitate to tell you guys this, but I watched it 7 times in the expensive theater and one time in the cheap theater. And this
you should have reversed that.
I know, but I just had to. I kept going back for more.
Fair enough.
So, anyways, from the very beginning, when it has the CinemaScope, logo and everything, I could just tell it was going to be something special and different and good. And I love movies that kind of play on that kind of play on old Hollywood and bring back those, anything that is shot, in Technicolor, and it just has a piece of nostalgia for me. And so I knew that I would probably like this going into it, and after watching it, I absolutely loved it. My infatuation with Ryan Gosling continues. He fails. he does not fail me ever.
Well, after this and The Nice Guys, he had 2 huge home runs this year.
Yeah.
Crazy year for him.
Yeah. And so that's kind of it. I love the musicals. I love dancing, and this has everything wrapped up into one. A nice little love letter to Hollywood, the golden age of cinema, and it was great.
Well, I felt the same way. I've only seen it the once. I can't wait for my wife to see it. She has a degree in music, so music is, her thing. And we talked about this, Brian, before we saw the film. Musicals are not so much my thing. And I loved the film even so. Actually, to be honest, there's... how many songs are in the film? Because it doesn't feel like it's overloaded with music.
It doesn't. And when I tell people that are turned off to... they hear musical and you just see this blank stare in their face like, this is not for me. So the first 20-30 minutes feels like a traditional musical. It seems like there's song after song, but then the second and third acts, it kind of really pulls back. There is still music, and it is an essential part of the theme, but it doesn't feel like those big showstopper numbers that are clunkily added in, let's everyone stop and dance on top of our cars type of thing. It's more nuanced, and so it still is an intricate part to the film, but it feels like it kind of pulls back in the latter part of the film. I don't know if you got that sensation too, Cody, but
yeah, and that's my thing. Like whenever the musicals that I do enjoy, they sneak music in. Moulin Rouge does this by having a giant musical number, but it takes place in a club, so there really would be a musical number. You're not breaking the reality of the film to have a song. You're keeping the reality, and this film does that too. Again, it's very sneaky though. Like they'll start off playing piano, like Ryan Gosling will, in the world of the film, and then the lights kind of go out around him, and then the one spotlight comes on, and we've entered the musical realm, so to say. But it's very subtle, and it's not, like I said at the beginning, it's very overt. It's very, I have feelings and I'm going to dance about them like a regular musical. But later on, it does become much more subtle, and it worked for me in that way, because if you're going to do that, then do it right up front, because I'm not entranced in some story and then pulled out of it. I haven't gotten started yet. And so the fact that they start the film with this kind of show-stopping, stuck-in-traffic, musical number, that's when to do it. That's the time to do it, because I'm not involved in the two lead stories yet. In fact, we don't even meet the leads
till the end
after
of the
that
song.
Musical number. Yeah, and it's perfect, because then you can appreciate that for what it is. It's this, hey, we're taking this seriously. This is a feat of engineering and choreography. And the fact that that's really that many actors and that many dancers and performers on the real highway, no computer, they're not on a little section of highway with green screen all around them. It's the real thing. You can really feel that. And because it's kind of all in one shot as well, it feels like there's some tension. Like, oh gosh, is every dancer going to hit their mark? Is every, it has this real kind of almost live feeling to it, which is what I got from it. And I loved that. And then when we got introduced to the two leads, they didn't break us out of the movie with their songs. I stayed in. And that's my big complaint with like The Sound of Music. I'll be into the story, like there's a section of the film where there's like just story, and then they start singing again, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's a musical. And I never had that with this. I never got kicked out of the film. And I will say, without spoiling the ending, that it has the best ending of any movie
Absolutely.
of the year.
And that's highly argumentative and debatable, but you guys shut up. It's a great ending.
Well, can we say this? Like, the thing that makes it work for me, besides the obvious things, right? The cinematography, and I'm okay rooting for the cinematographer of this to win, because Roger Deakins is not nominated this year. Anytime Deakins is nominated, I'm on his team.
There you go.
But he's not nominated this year, and he shot Hail Caesar this year, but that was not nominated. Next year, Blade Runner, it's his year.
It's got to be. It looks phenomenal.
It's going to be his
trailer.
It's going to be. He'll be nominated. He should, at least. It'll be his 14th nomination, and he hasn't won yet. So it's deserved. Yeah, it's his turn.
It's time.
Anyway, besides that, beautiful film. Something that I loved about this is you and I, and people who listen to the podcast know that you and I went to Los Angeles on a trip back in October, and saw the city, and it was a really, really cool experience to finally be out there in California. I'd never been to California. The palm trees and the whatever else. And that's why I think another thing I loved about the film is the film felt like what it was like to be there in October. Like, there was several shots, and you brought this up, that was like, I think we took that off-ramp. Like, it looks just like...
I swear we did, yeah.
Just like places we were, and that's, cheating, because that's a personal thing, but so be it. I have really fond memories of that trip, and it kind of brought them all back when we were watching the film. I was like, hey, I kind of love Los Angeles. I was mixed on it when we left. But it's grown on me, and this kind of idealized version of it, I love that. The Griffith Observatory and the way it looks, and the palm trees and the jazz clubs and the whatever. I just loved it. I loved the settings and the cinematography.
Yeah. So
I guess what we can do is I wanted to address this before we finished and give it a star rating and all that stuff. There has been, this movie peaked so fast, and then it had backlash before I ever saw it. So it was really interesting that I was already hearing negative things after the incredible positive things before I went and saw the film. And I think we should address a couple of the things, because this movie has gotten some serious backlash for people on the internet and other people related to Bryce, our co-host who's not here today. And we want to tackle a couple of those things one at a time and see, do they have merit? No movie's perfect. So I'm sure there are things that, with the film that maybe could be improved or we could even nitpick at. But a lot of these things that have been brought up I don't feel are fair criticisms, and I want to talk about why. One you brought up was with John Legend and his character that he plays, some of the criticism there. You want to outline that for us?
Yeah, well, if you're not familiar with John Legend, he's I guess I'm not super familiar with him, but I assume he's an African American, a black singer, very famous. Does what type of music is the music that's in that film? Is that the type of music he does? I haven't researched it, but
I listen to classical music and John Williams. So yeah, sorry.
Oh, very diverse. So anyways, yeah, John Legend is kind of the whole movie kind of centers around jazz and Ryan Gosling's love for it, and John Legend kind of to put it kind of bluntly is the sellout of the film, kind of corrupting jazz or evolving it. I think that what's the line that he says in there? If it doesn't, you're holding on to the past and.
Yeah,
I don't.
Ryan Gosling's character is super obsessed with early jazz and all that stuff.
Yeah, and he's the fanatic, and Ryan Gosling is obviously a white American, and he's the savior of jazz. You know, he's the one trying to save it, and so, you know, that's the criticism that is floating out there. Some of it. I don't know. What are your thoughts on it, Cody?
I just don't buy it. Here's the thing. I don't know that John Legend's character is wrong.
Yeah.
And I don't think the film portrayed it that way. I think Ryan Gosling's character can be a real pain in the butt sometimes in the film too. I get that. You know, he plays a character that can be defensive and can be, you know, arrogant and self-centered and all those things that kind of, you know, and I'm not sure his dream is to found a jazz club and keep it original, whatever else, and that's great. But I really didn't feel like Damien Chazelle, the writer and director, was passing judgment on the John Legend character.
Not at all.
I just didn't get that. I thought because the song that John Legend and the group have, I like it.
Yeah.
I've listened to it a bunch as part of the soundtrack.
Uh-huh.
It's a good song. It's not like they gave him a crap song, you know, to say, oh, look how awful this new jazz is. It's a good song.
Yeah.
And I really feel like he has an excellent point, and I just feel like it's two different points of view. I didn't feel like the filmmaker tilted his hat towards one or the other. In fact, John Legend's character is always rational, you know, nice, level-headed. You know, if anything, he's the one that's the nice guy you'd want to hang out with.
Yeah.
And Ryan Gosling is super charismatic, and you like him, and then you're like, gosh, I can't stand him. So,
yeah.
if anyway, he's tilting his hat towards the John Legend character, but I don't feel like that was the case either. So that's why I think that criticism's a little wrong-headed, because I felt like it was presenting two different points of view and not taking a stand on it, really.
Mm-hmm.
So, my thoughts.
I think with the political climate as it is, it's kind of an obvious thing to kind of fall back on, and I kind of expected it. So I understand where some of the complaints are, but I'm with you. I don't think it's well founded. I think that you know, yeah.
Well, another one of the criticisms, and we'll get to the one I really want to talk about after this one, but was that the quote-unquote, I can't remember where I read this because I disregarded it after I read it, but it was this idea that the film was ugly because of what it was trying to romanticize. And this writer was saying that Los Angeles was an ugly place and a common place, and the fact that you can have a musical happen anywhere, why not have it happen in a place that actually is photogenic and beautiful? And that's just a matter of opinion, I suppose. But I think that that's a silly one. Like the John Legend one, I get where you're coming from a little bit. Uh-huh. I don't buy it, but this one kind of goes in the realm of like, what?
This is new to me. I haven't heard that.
Well, and also it was wrapped into the whole, this movie is all about, I can't tell you what the name of the article was, it's a little vulgar, but it was the idea that movies about Hollywood always fawn all over Hollywood and Los Angeles, and it's just this giant love letter to the movie industry, and it's a cynical way to get Oscars because you know that those people want power and they want to believe in that dream. And if this movie was anything, I didn't feel like it was cynical.
Yeah.
I felt like it was realistic. I felt there was some moments that grounded some of the flightier elements of it. But I think that's just again, I want to dismantle that one because I feel like that was written from a cynical point of view.
Yeah. And
I think you assume the making of it cynical because you're viewing it in a cynical way.
Well, and the only thing that like get from remembering back on that movie is when they're dancing, up on the the vista out there after the party. And this isn't really a spoiler, but he says, yeah, not that pretty or something, right? That's like the only derogatory thing, but it actually was beautiful, and everything else was beautiful. I mean, the Griffith Observatory, everything. It was just gorgeous everywhere. Warner Brothers Studio, the cafe, I mean, everything was just gorgeous. And so, yeah, I don't get where they're coming from that at all.
I think it was a cynical person from Los Angeles who had very hard feelings about the city and the industry and took those out on La La Land. Now, it is a little... this is a tough one because there are a lot of movies you can point to that have won Best Picture that are about Hollywood. The Artist comes to mind, or even Argo in kind of a roundabout fashion. And I think you can be harder on The Artist than you can the other ones. I liked The Artist when I saw it at first. I rewatched it the other day, and I thought it was still good, but it didn't have the same... I think I was swept up in the romanticism of... I went to a movie theater, I sat down, the lights went down, and a silent black and white film came up. And I was like, oh, I'm transported back in time, it's amazing. And so that tweaked on my love of old movies. And while I still enjoyed the film, I think it has lost a little bit of its luster since it came out in 2011 and since I saw it. And so I can see why you're like, well, they always win, and if something else should have won. But I don't think it's fair to slap La La Land with all those things because, yes, it is about Hollywood, but it transcends a lot of those things. And I can imagine watching this film down the road, and I don't feel like I'm as... I feel like I'm of sound judgment now, and I don't think I'm going to be like, well, I was swept up in the whatever, because I heard all the negative stuff before I saw it. So do they have a point that Hollywood loves Hollywood? Yes.
Yeah, they do, but can they be good films, though?
Yeah, exactly.
They can. I mean, this says something. I'm on IMDb right now, and the popularity, it's number 7th talked about movie or whatever, most viewed movie on IMDb. And how long ago was it released? I mean, if it was that cynical and that, I don't know. I think that it would have been much
more flash in the pan.
Yeah, there's a lot more substance there and slow growth and momentum. I think there is more merit there than people are giving it credit for. The article you read, I guess.
And then the other article I read, and this is purely a matter of opinion, was that the songs were totally not catchy and they didn't like them and they couldn't hum any of the tunes when they came out. And
really, because I can hum that piano thing.
I didn't have that experience,
and over
so
and over.
I can't argue that one for 20 minutes, but I can just tell you I didn't have that experience. And so, yeah, I get that people want to hate on things that are popular. I understand that. I've had a few things of my own that I thought everybody was wrapped up in, and I felt alone in the world because I was not wrapped up in them. But this is just, for me, not one of those experiences. I'm right along with you, and I can't help it if it's popular. It's good. And I would recommend that everybody go see it, and I would recommend you see it in the theater.
Yeah.
Because to have that kind of sound and that kind of size of the picture and that the world goes away and you can get lost in it is an essential part of this. I just want to say get with the spirit of it. If you go in there with a positive attitude and you want to have a good time, this movie wants you to have a good time as well.
Yeah.
Everybody, I could tell everybody worked insanely hard to make it look effortless. And I feel like they accomplished that. And I feel like it was a really good 2 hours at the movie. I mean, probably the most fun I've had this year at the movies. I don't know if I'm prepared to say it's the best movie. It's way up there, but it is the most fun I've had. That's for sure.
Well, that's because you went with me, Cody. That's why. Yeah,
so yeah,
I agree.
I totally recommend the film to anybody. Actually, I don't feel like there's an age group either. I think that anybody could see the film.
There's one F word in it, and
which kind of blows my mind. Like, I don't think they swear besides that.
No, they don't.
There's like no swearing except for that.
Yeah.
And I think Ryan Gosling, when he says like, what did he say, pishy caca or something like that, or whatever his fake swear word is so much more effective than the real one. Yeah. So they should have just stuck with that. But I get it. Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling have chemistry like flowing out the screen and drowning everybody. They're just everything about it's effortless. And I think you should go back and rewatch Whiplash too, because Whiplash was insanely awesome. as well, and that was from Damien Chazelle. I mean, the man's a rocket. Didn't you say he also helped write the screenplay for what was it? Basement Movie, John Goodman.
10 Cloverfield Lane. He does have the
Yes.
writing credit for that. And then also for Last Exorcism 2. So maybe
Well, you got to earn a living, right?
Maybe we'll get a horror film out of him before long. That would be cool.
Well, if you told me that the guy who made Whiplash was going to make a romantic musical after, I'd be like, what? Because Whiplash is a pretty hardcore movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the link is jazz and music, of course, but he's got range, and I'm just talk about, because he made the Whiplash. He made one film that was like a student film. That was like his thesis movie.
We got Guy and Madeline on a park bench. That was
that's it.
And then he did the Whiplash short, and then Whiplash and La La Land. So
and then now this. So I mean, he's fresh out the gate. He's younger than me, which makes me feel sick to my stomach. And he's just got. I just can't wait to see what he does next. He's doing a movie about John Glenn. I think next is the next thing he's signed up
First
to do.
Man. Yeah, it's in pre-production.
A biopic. Yeah, fantastic. Hey, he's like range, for crying out loud. So yeah, I totally recommend it. I would not be upset to see it win the Best Picture at the Oscars. I feel like that's fine. That'd be great. I think it should take cinematography, and I think Emma Stone should take actress as well. I don't think Ryan Gosling's going to win. I think that'll probably be Denzel or Casey Affleck. But that's how it goes. Let's see. Anything else you want to touch on La La Land before we end up closing the review?
If this, after hearing this, has interested you at all, go see it right now before it's gone. It's just a magical experience. It almost feels like a Disney film, but in a more mature way. Like seems magical. That magical, kind of feeling is there, and it's great. Go see it right now.
Well, now I'll say this: that it definitely has that magical and that uplift, but it also has a thread of melancholy that kind of runs through it, which is not a criticism at all. If you're going to have a great film, it has to have lots of flavors, and that melancholy kind of helps temper what could be maybe a little saccharine, but it never is because you have this kind of realistic melancholy thing going through it. The ending is devastating. It's so good. I suppose that is a spoiler, but I don't know that you could ruin this movie. I think you could read the script, know exactly what's going to happen, go see it, and still be incredibly moved. So I won't say any more than that, but
it's great. Yeah,
it earns our heartiest recommendation. If I'm going to rate it on a star scale, there's nothing wrong with it. Literally nothing wrong with it. I think I have to give it a perfect score. Yeah. So, 4 out of 4, 10 out of 10, whatever that is, and I know that sounds like I'm overselling it again, but there's nothing wrong with it. There's I can't find anything wrong with it. It did everything it's supposed to do as a musical. So, am I saying it's the best movie ever made? No. But of this kind, it's practically a perfect example.
Yeah, for what they were trying to convey and what they were trying to do, it's perfect, and I'm with you. 10 out of 10. Yeah.
10 out of 10. Okay. Well, this has been the Valhalla Filmcast. I'm Cody Ryrie.
I'm Brian Hammond.
We will talk at you next time.
The following views, opinions, and commentary are the sole property of the Valhalla Filmcast. Any unauthorized reproduction without prior consent is prohibited. Any incidental music, audio clips, or film trailers are used for the sole purpose of film criticism and commentary as allowed under the Fair Use Act.